Hello everyone, it's me, Monica P. Hall, aka Conduit of Healing, and it is time for our weekly messages for the collective. But first, we celebrate, we show gratitude, and we say thank you. Why? Because we have 1,000 subscribers, everyone. Yes. And I cannot thank all of you enough for making that possible. As you probably have realized, it is my passion, it is my mission to help all of you become the best version of you that you can in this lifetime. Because if we are better people, then we can be a better world. So thank you so much for that. For the rest of you, if you have not subscribed to this channel, but you're enjoying the messages, please consider doing so. Make sure also that you're leaving these comments and you're clicking the like button. And hey, spread the good news. Share with your friends, your family, anyone you think would find benefit in these messages, all right? All right, so let's get into this week's message. What are we talking about this week, crew? Just in case you ever thought this was blank and I didn't write down the messages, I write down the messages, okay? All right, so let's go. Adjustments are part of growth and are necessary in order to earn the best life has to offer. Sometimes you will have to adjust your attitude, perspective, or belief to become a better version of yourself. Sometimes the entire purpose of a relationship is to urge you to adjust everything you thought you understood about life, society, and yourself. Be flexible. Be willing to make the necessary adjustments required in transformation, evolution, and growth. Adjust yourself accordingly. So, as we say where I'm from, we're about to have some grown folks conversations. So if you're not feeling particularly like an adult today, yeah, this one's going to hurt your feelings. Adjustments, right? So, okay, one of the I think delusions that we have as human beings, right, is this idea that as our bodies grow older, somehow we magically gain wisdom. That's not always necessarily the case. How does one gain wisdom? One gains wisdom by having an experience and gleaning the lessons from it for themselves, not for other people. For themselves. Okay, so wisdom looks at the situation, sees the role that you or I played in this situation, and looks at the results and go, what did I learn? But that's not enough, because that's just learning the lesson. Now that I've learned a lesson, I now incorporate the lesson into how I see and interact with the world to make sure that I do not act in the same way that earned me the results if I wasn't happy with the results. Now, if it's the opposite and I've learned a lesson that I, actually like something more about myself, then it's like, okay, let me keep that piece of wisdom and incorporate it into every day so that I can get more of that result, which would be considered desired. Okay? That's what an adjustment is. An adjustment is having an experience, looking at the experience, gleaning the lesson, and incorporating those lessons learned into how you interact with the world, how you think about the world, how you think about yourself. People don't necessarily enjoy adjustments, right? But we're constantly making them. Everything from how we learn to talk, to walk, to socialize, so on and so forth. I think left up to us, if we weren't forced to make adjustments as children, I'm not sure I would bother to go through a lot of life. Right? If I could be in a situation where people would just bring me stuff and do things for me because I had a tantrum, I'm not sure that I would grow. And when I say grow, I don't mean a physical capacity. I mean a spiritual capacity. I mean a mental capacity. I mean in terms of aptitude. You know what? what I have learned as a lesson and is part of my wisdom that I've gleaned in experiences, if you want something done in a specific kind of way, if you want a specific kind of like result from a situation, you actually have to go do it yourself. In case you haven't noticed that, right? So for those of you who haven't, incorporated that adjustment of if you want something done a particular way, you gotta 9 times out of 10 do it yourself, or you have to be willing to use your voice to be very clear to the other person, the institution, what have you, about what it is that you want. This is why a lot of you are not really getting your manifestations that you really want in law of attraction, because you're not clear on what you want and you haven't adjusted yourself to understand that you literally do have to tell the universe exactly what it is you want to manifest, and then you have to do the work of adjusting your energies and your efforts accordingly to help the manifestation. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of you are using law of attraction like, oh, I just like, it's a menu and let me just order like the dream house, the dream husband, the dream wife, or the dream situation, or love, or the best job, or lots and lots of money. But I'm just going to sit here, I'm going to relax on my sofa, and can you just deliver that with like DoorDash or something like that? And then I'm happy to tip you. Like, the adjustment that you forgot to make was you have to get up and you have to do something. A lot of you want to be in relationships with people, and every time or whenever there's a moment of friction or there's a moment of conflict, you want what you want when you want it, and you don't want to have to listen to your partner's thoughts, feelings, take them into consideration, and adjust your attitude or adjust how you communicate accordingly. Listen, if you're not willing to adjust yourself to be in a relationship, why are you in a relationship? I'm just asking questions. I'm literally just asking questions. Because even if you're in a relationship for, let's just say, all the wrong reasons, like you're just there for the sex, you're just there because you don't want to be alone, you're just there for convenience, you're just there for maybe money, you're just there for power and prestige, whatever you're there for, whether the intention behind it is good, or the intention behind it is bad. And when I do these air quotes, is because I'm really not a big believer in quote unquote good or bad the way that we've been taught them. But if you're in any sort of relationship with somebody else, and if you don't understand that you have to make adjustments to accommodate the fact there's a whole nother person there, or people, depending on whatever your love language is, if you're in a relationship with more than one person, if you don't understand you have to make adjustments to make this all work, like, please don't do this to other people. Just stay by yourself. I'm serious. And I say that as someone who basically has to like take all the phone calls for all these people seeking love advice, and they're asking about you and when you're going to come back or when you're going to change and blah, 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 and yada, yada, yada. And you know what? I'm really tired of telling people that, some of y'all out there don't understand what you could lose until you actually lose it, because you don't want to adjust. And a lot of you are actually in very good relationships. You have supportive partners, you have loving partners, but because you don't want to adjust yourself, maybe deal with inner demons, communicate better, share power. Like if you're one of those people that you have to have the upper hand, or you have to feel like you're the dominant person, or that you have to have the final word, the final say. I mean, you're just letting us all know how insecure you are, and not to mention you're also ruining your relationship. Eventually people will get tired of you basically hurting them, and they will leave. I know I'm just kind of being like a no chill today. I mean, I feel like I'm no chill every week, but as a psychic medium, I have to deal with these people that you're leaving left behind, who may have done everything that they could to hold on to you, to hold on your relationship, and you didn't even bother to show up to not hurt their feelings in the first place, or to even consider their feelings. All right. So that's something to think about. If you want to be in a relationship with somebody, if you want it to work, adjust yourself accordingly. You actually have to think about your partner. Okay, adjustments. Let's talk about like social stuff, right? Over the last, let's say, 5.5 years, we have been forced to make adjustments as a society. There's a whole global pandemic going on that honestly, we don't know where the end of it is. And not only that, people are mad that they have to make adjustments and possibly think about other people's health and well-being and not just be solely focused on their own and their families. And what's the alternative if we don't start thinking about each other in oneness? Well, death. And I don't even mean like, spiritual death. Although that's really horrible too. There's the physical death aspect, right? I've talked about vaccination before, and I'm really not going to get into it now. I'm simply going to say, if you would like for there to be a world where humans exist in it, aka you and me, you really are going to start having to adjust your thoughts and your ideas and your perspectives beyond the whinings and the grumblings and the cryings of your ego. I don't want to do this. I mean, I get it. Maybe you don't want to wear a mask. Maybe you don't want to think about standing 6 feet away from people. Maybe you don't want to understand why, like, you possibly shouldn't be going out every weekend and getting drunk in places where people are not thinking about themselves, and they're not thinking about you. They're not thinking about the well-being after the party. Right? Some people just want to go out there and absolutely be, inconsiderate, irresponsible. Like, I don't know. I'm thinking that's what your teenage years were for, but maybe some of you are adults and still not out of your adolescence. I don't know. That's something for you to deal with whomever. But these things have consequences. When we don't adjust to what's happening around it, especially on this scale, it literally is now, we're in the realm of, well, that can mean life or death, people. And when you think about the fact that just in the United States alone, that is 600,000 plus deaths in just this pandemic alone, it's starting to kind of break away with what we thought reality was. Like, okay, all I got to do is stop just focusing on myself for 5 minutes. And that would be like my part of doing something to help all of us. Adjustments. All right, another adjustments we're having to deal with, right? Work, jobs, right? So this pandemic forced a lot of people who could to work from home. And then there were the people who couldn't, frontline workers, the labor force that do everyday things, from working in our grocery stores to picking up our garbage to working, at our pharmacies, so on and so forth. Our U.S. Postal Service, all these people who really didn't have an option to work from home, right? So we got to adjust to our economy, our new job market, or lack thereof. And so what has that done working from home? What has that done to people? Okay, it's now made a lot of people adjust to the idea that maybe I don't need to work in an office. Now, of course, companies are not happy with this, because how do I micromanage you from home? How do I pile on extra work and make sure you're doing it for the same money or less if I can't lay eyes on you? How do I basically control your psyche? All right. So corporations are having a hard time adjusting to the voice of the labor forces. So what's happening? Well, people are just leaving their jobs. That's what's happening, because some of them have come to realize that, they can be as effective, if not more effective, not working in office that may or may not be a toxic environment for them. They're more healthy and happy if they're working from home. They have more time to be with their families and the things that really matter to them. Now, mind you, a wise person would see this and go, okay, if we want our company to continue to exist at the working capacity and the profitability that we've had in the past, we've got to adjust to the fact that our workers are saying we need to come up with a new blueprint as to what day-to-day looks like. We'll see how that goes. What else? Spiritual growth. You knew I was going to get there, right? You knew I was going to get there. So a lot of you have now been in this shift since 2012 long enough to realize that intuition is a real thing, that there is some sort of unseen world, unseen force that, you know, you're interacting with, and for a long time you didn't know that you were doing that. You are starting to now be able to recognize the universe calling to you, pulling at you to change, to grow, to be more, to seek more, to expect more. You are now starting to love yourself enough to place boundaries on what you will and will not accept from other people, because all of a sudden, this is what's called for in order to maintain any sort of sense of sanity in this world. Like, you got to draw the line. You got to be able to shut the door to your home and go, I'm not doing any more of that today. I'm not messing with y'all anymore. I ain't fucking with you no more. Leave me alone. I'm over here just trying to hold on to the good sense that I think I have and maybe gain a little bit more along the way. But right now, I'm tired and I can't interact with you. So when you're setting boundaries, what happens? So I just recently posted this on my IG, and if you follow me, you know, well, your boundaries get tested. And I put together a whole kind of, short video on that. When you start loving yourself, and that's the adjustment you've made, you went from hating yourself, putting others' needs before you, being a sacrificial lamb in every capacity to everyone else. Their happiness was way more important than yours. And then you realize, everyone is using me. Everyone is just, taking my energy, taking my money, taking my work, taking my creativity, and they're not even saying thank you. Not only are they not saying thank you, they literally have the audacity to have their hands out asking for more of my energy, as if I owe it to them. And then what happens? The true you, the I am, begins to get angry. Righteous anger begins. And if that happens to you, please don't feel bad, because that is your true self saying, hell no, I'm done with this shit. I'm over it. You know what? You don't say thank you. You don't offer me a helping hand. You don't support me. You just take. And then you find yourself reevaluating all of your relationships. So for those of you who are afraid to be alone, I'm going to tell you something. Being alone with yourself when you like yourself is heavenly. It's peace and quiet that you probably know nothing about, possibly thought was a rumor, but it's real. Having peace with yourself, alone with yourself, cannot be quantified in any way, shape, or form. It really is like the gateway drug to real happiness. I'm not going to lie to you about that. But you have to adjust how in those circumstances. So when you start setting down boundaries and you start defending those boundaries, the adjustment that you will have to make is you might have to go from a peaceful spirit to a peaceful warrior spirit. Now, why am I saying that? Because you're going to get tested. People are going to call you selfish. They're going to call you mean. They're going to call you cruel, all because you're defending yourself. And you know what? You still have to defend yourself. You have to put things in perspective. They are calling you mean, selfish, thoughtless, cruel because you refuse to allow them to take advantage of you anymore. Poor them. Moment of silence for their ego. I think not. Y'all catching me on a good day because I really just kind of want to flip the bird on that one. But if you do it, I'm with you. Those who want you to win don't use you. Those who want you to win support you. They are there for you because your transformation into a better version of you, your ascension, not only does it remind them that they too have the ability to be great, it inspires them to be great. So if they're not cheering you on, if they're not offering to help, if they're not there with a notepad taking notes, trying to figure out how you're doing what you're doing, they're not there for you. Not in a way that means a better life. They're there to challenge that boundary. They're there to test the self-love that you say that you have for yourself. And they're going to do it using magical phrases like, I'm just concerned. I'm just trying to help. Right? Sounds familiar, right? I'm just worried about you. You've changed. I mean, let's just not mention the part where you change for the better, but you change, aka means I can't manipulate you like I used to. So what's the adjustment I'm talking about here? Reevaluating your life, reevaluating who you're surrounding yourself with, and seeing who needs to be dropped off on the journey and who needs to be like invited to the journey. Okay? These are the adjustments. So I know I'm saying so much here, right? But why am I saying so much? Because the adjustments are everywhere. They're everywhere. They're in your relationship with yourself. If you thought you were a horrible person yesterday, there's no way that you can ascend if you're going to just stick with that, theory. And I'm going to call it a theory. I don't know that it's facts. I'm going to say you may have done horrible things for whatever reason. Sometimes we've had to do horrible things in order to survive a traumatic or abusive or toxic situation we may have been in. And that is just you not wanting to die. So please forgive yourself for that, but don't forgive yourself for not wanting to die. Like, that's kind of important. But once you are in a situation where you are safe and you can make different choices and you can be a better person, move towards that. Do not get stuck in what was. Focus your energies on what is going to be, what will be, what I want to be, who I want to be. Okay? If you need to forgive yourself for some past transgressions against others, against yourself, make sure you do that. If you need to apologize to other people so you can begin that healing process, make sure you do that. And also understand, just because you apologize to someone doesn't mean they're going to forgive you. It's really about forgiving yourself, okay? Adjust. It's everywhere. It's constantly in your face, in your aura, in your spirit, in your vicinity at all times. There's going to be situations, there's going to be people, there's going to be the universe saying, adjust. Yes, I'm a little giddy today. Please forgive me. I'm having a really good day. And magic is being quiet, so it can't get much better than this. I mean, it probably could, but you hear what I'm saying. So that's all I have for you this week, guys. Lean into the adjustments. Start imagining a better version of yourself. Start imagining better relationships for yourself, and adjust the rest of yourself according to your new way of thinking. Hopefully you're thinking a new way. If not, that's also part of the adjustments, okay? So thank you so much for joining me this week and every week. And, like always, if you have not subscribed to this channel and you're enjoying this content, please make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Please hit the like button on this video and comments. How are you adjusting? Like, now that we talked about this, like, have you thought about all the adjustments you've had to make in life? Are you thinking about the adjustments you need to make in life? Discuss. All right, everyone. I'll talk to you next week. Have a great week. Mwah! Namaste. Bye. Yes, I'm singing some. What is going on? I'm happy. Have some happiness. There you go.